Welcome to this deep dive where we explore the landscapes of your inner world, those often overlooked dreams that bubble up from the quiet corners of your mind.
Indeed.
You brought us a vivid recurring dream, a really powerful image, and together we're going to see what feelings and, insights might emerge as we spend some time within it.
Yes.
Think of this less like solving a puzzle, maybe, and more like walking through a painting, noticing the colors, the textures.
Yeah, exactly. Let's gently enter this dream space, paying attention to the subtle atmosphere, the feelings that arise will allow the images to speak in their own language.
Their own language.
The language of metaphor and, emotion.
Right. So the image you shared is striking. A child standing at the edge of a moonlit forest.
Mm-hmm.
On their palm is a raw red wound, but instead of blood, it seems to whisper forgotten lullabies.
Whispering lullabies.
Yeah, and there's something holding the child back, like an invisible line they just can't cross into the trees. What feeling does this initial picture evoke in you?
Well, what's fascinating, isn't it, is that the wound isn't behaving as we'd expect.
No, not at all.
The lack of blood. It immediately suggests that this isn't a hurt of the skin, but something deeper.
Okay.
Perhaps a profound emotional ache that hasn't quite found a way to surface, in a tangible way.
An ache.
And those whispers, those fragments of old songs, they feel like echoes of times gone by, don't they? Little pieces of the past trying to be remembered.
Little pieces.
Yeah.
You also mentioned some very specific sensations in the dream. The smell of damp earth, the sound of distant rain, even a faint metallic taste in the air.
Right.
And this overall feeling of something very old and, unresolved.
Yeah.
How does these details contribute to what the wound might mean?
Well, if we connect these sensations, they sort of paint a picture of the dream's atmosphere, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Almost mirroring the emotional state linked to the wound. The damp earth and rain could bring feelings of sadness, maybe, or being deeply rooted, while that metallic tang might hint at something primal, perhaps even a sense of unease or a deep discomfort connected to the original feeling.
Okay, a primal discomfort.
Yeah,
And this image, you've seen it before, but it shifts, you said.
it shifts.
Sometimes it's a photograph that's torn, but you can't throw it away. Other times it's a melody with a missing note.
Exactly.
The feeling is similar, but the form, it's different.
Right. Think of the dream as having, a surface story, the child and the wound. That's what we directly experience, the manifest content.
Manifest content, okay.
But underneath, it's often pointing towards deeper, unresolved feelings or desires that take on these symbolic shapes.
Ah,
The recurring feeling, whether it's a child's hurt or that gap in a song, it suggests that something is consistently seeking attention, needs to be heard.
right, seeking attention. You described the wound as almost humming with a constant ache.
Mm-hmm.
Not a sharp pain, but this persistent thrumming.
Mm-hmm. Thrumming.
It reminded you of those dreams where you're endlessly climbing stairs, or maybe in a house that keeps changing its layout.
Yes, that persistent ache is a significant signal. Imagine it as a gentle but constant reminder from a part of yourself that feels unheard.
Unheard.
It could be pointing to a need that isn't being met,
Yeah.
A longing that persists beneath the surface.
Okay.
And those endless scares or shifting houses, they might symbolize a feeling of searching for something within yourself that feels just out of reach.
Just out of reach.
Yeah, a sense of being unsettled, perhaps.
That makes sense. And the child, standing there at the edge of the forest, drawn to it, but unable to step inside.
Mm-hmm.
Almost as if held back by this invisible force, while this silent, non-bleeding wound is present. There's such a strong sense of longing, mixed with this feeling of being restricted.
This really speaks to how our deepest unhealed emotions can feel.
Right.
They can become strangely familiar, almost like a part of us, because they often connect back to those very early experiences.
Early experiences.
Like
Loss.
loss or intense yearning, yes. These early imprints can create these unseen boundaries in our inner world, shaping what we reach for and, what we instinctively avoid.
Then you notice the wound starting to glow faintly.
Yeah, the glance.
And through that light, these quick flashes of images, a door slamming shut, a whispered apology you can barely hear, a single candle missing from a birthday cake, just these fragmented moments appearing.
The glowing wound, in this context, it acts like a doorway
A doorway.
to those tucked away memories and emotions linked to the original feeling. These fleeting images, even though they're not fully clear, they offer hints, little clues
Ghosts.
about what that underlying hurt or unmet need might be connected to. They're like glimpses into a hidden room.
Glimpses into a hidden room. Wow. And the child in the dream.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't sure if it was you as a child or someone else, but there was this powerful sense of recognition, this feeling of these big adult emotions resting on such young shoulders.
That's very common. The child in our dreams often embodies a younger, more vulnerable aspect of ourselves.
Our younger self.
Perhaps a version of who we were when these foundational feelings first took root. Or it could also represent a part of your current self that feels small or helpless when faced with these deep-seated emotions.
Right.
That feeling of recognition, though, that tells you that these emotions are deeply personal, deeply connected to your own story.
Personal. Okay. And the forest itself, you described it as almost breathing.
Breathing, yes.
The branches moving gently, the leaves rustling, and this very real sense of an invisible barrier. It felt like more than just the backdrop.
Oh, absolutely. The environment in our dreams often reflects our inner landscape.
So the forest is inside us, in a way.
You could say that. A breathing forest with swaying branches might symbolize the natural ebb and flow of our unspoken emotions and that invisible barrier.
Yes.
It could represent those internal rules and limitations, the shoulds and shouldn'ts that we've internalized.
The rules.
Preventing us from fully engaging with the feelings associated with the wound.
Okay. You felt the wound pulsing then, with a faint, distant heartbeat.
The heartbeat.
And with that pulse came a sense of knowing. About safety, about danger, about love that was given and love that was withheld. It's as if the wound itself holds a very fundamental understanding.
That heartbeat connects us, doesn't it, to our earliest experiences of being cared for. The very first rhythms of comfort and security we learned.
The first rhythms.
So the wound's understanding of safety, danger, the complexities of love, it speaks to how deeply those early interactions shape our understanding of relationships and our own vulnerability.
Wow. And then the child turned. And in that moment of connection, the line between you as the dreamer and the child in the dream seemed to blur.
It blurred.
It left you with this shared, unspoken understanding that some wounds, well, they stay with us to remind us of something important.
Precisely. The wound, despite the discomfort it brings, it serves a purpose.
A purpose.
It's not just about pain. It's also a persistent signal, a reminder of something significant that needs our attention. Perhaps a lesson we learned, or a part of ourselves that needs to be acknowledged and integrated.
Integrated. So this persistent ache, this whispering wound, it speaks in this ancient language of desire, you think, hinting at truths that are hidden.
Yes, I think so.
It's not just about what has been heard, but also about what is deeply longed for.
Exactly. The very energy of life, our deepest drives and longings, they're always at play. In our dreams, our waking hours.
Always there.
And this wound becomes a focal point for those complex yearnings that go beyond our basic needs. It whispers about what we truly desire, often in ways that are intertwined with past hurts.
Intertwined. You mentioned childhood games, the ones where you'd imitate adults.
Mm-hmm.
But also those other unspoken games where the lines of touch and boundaries felt, well, unclear.
Yes.
Could the beginnings of this wound be rooted in those early, perhaps confusing experiences?
It's quite possible. Those early times when our innocent understanding of the world intersects with more complex, sometimes ambiguous, adult interactions, they can leave lasting impressions.
Lasting impressions.
The wound might symbolize a point where boundaries were unclear or perhaps crossed, creating a lingering sense of unease or an unresolved emotional feeling.
Right. In the dream forest, you saw familiar shapes too. A staircase that felt forbidden.
Forbidden.
A keyhole that promised something both frightening and incredibly tempting. These felt like echoes of childhood curiosity and maybe even those first tastes of doing something you weren't supposed to.
They're powerful symbols, aren't they?
Yeah.
Little snapshots of memory, you might say, tucked away in the deeper parts of your mind.
Snapshots.
The forbidden staircase, the alluring keyhole, they represent those early encounters with limits and the powerful pull of the unknown, often mixed with a sense of risk or prohibition.
Risk. And the invisible barrier you felt, it seemed to vibrate with unspoken don'ts and shouldn'ts.
Vibrating, yes.
Yet there was this sense that something truly essential lay just on the other side. It's almost the pull of what's forbidden, isn't it?
This beautifully illustrates that inner tension we often feel
Yeah.
between what we deeply desire and the rules, either external or internal, that tell us we can't have it.
Right.
What is most longed for can sometimes become what is most denied, creating a powerful inner conflict that the dream symbolizes, with that vibrating barrier and the enticing yet unreachable something beyond.
The child's hand reaching out towards the forest and then hesitating.
that hesitation.
There seemed to be a sense of pleasure, even in that wanting, that ache of anticipation, mixed with the pain of not being able to reach it. It's such a complex mix of feelings.
It really highlights the often paradoxical nature of our unhealed wounds and our persistent unresolved desires. The longing itself can become entangled with the pain, creating a familiar, almost comforting discomfort.
Comforting discomfort.
In a strange way. And the hesitation speaks to that inner conflict between the desire to connect or explore and the fear of what might happen if we do, or if we're denied again.
Right, the fear of denial. You recalled a closed door, overhearing snippets of conversations, and feeling like you were hiding not from other people, but from parts of yourself.
Hiding from yourself.
These feel like moments where the seeds of that invisible barrier might have been planted.
These seemingly small, perhaps easily forgotten moments can be incredibly significant in building those inner walls.
They really can.
The closed door, the unheard conversations, they can symbolize feelings of exclusion or a sense that certain truths were being kept hidden. And hiding from parts of yourself suggests an early awareness of aspects that felt unacceptable, maybe, or unsafe to express openly.
Unsafe, and through these recalled moments, you felt a sense of shame moving like a mist.
Shame. Yes.
Gently covering parts of yourself, making them feel shadowy and untouchable.
Shame is a very potent emotion, isn't it? A learned response that teaches us which parts of ourselves we believe are okay and which parts we need to conceal. It acts like a veil, obscuring our true selves and reinforcing that feeling of being wounded or somehow incomplete.
Right. Even in those early childhood games, you sensed this unspoken presence of something like sex. Not just the act itself, but as a kind of energy, a way of connecting, of merging and separating. A very fundamental drive, even back then.
Yes, that fundamental life force, that eros, perhaps. It's always present, even in its most innocent and unformed expressions. As children, we instinctively sense its power and its potential for both closeness and separation long before we have the understanding or the language to name it directly. And this underlying energy can often become tangled up with our early experiences of being hurt or feeling vulnerable.
Tangled up. Scattered on the forest floor, you notice these small fragments. A broken toy.
The broken toy.
A pale ribbon. They seem to tell these quiet stories of attachment, of loss, of love given and withheld. Tangible symbols.
Very tangible. These seemingly insignificant objects can be powerful reminders of those early lessons about relationships.
The first lessons.
The joy of connection, the pain of loss, the often complicated ways that love is given and received. They represent those formative experiences that shape our expectations and our fears in our later connections.
Shaping our expectations. The wounds seem to throb in time with remembered heartbeats, the comforting closeness of a mother.
Closeness.
The feeling of a father turning away. These contrasting rhythms shaping your understanding of what felt safe and what felt dangerous.
Yes.
The impulse to reach out and the urge to withdraw.
These early rhythmic experiences, the feeling of being held close, the feeling of distance, they profoundly influence how our sense of security and vulnerability develops.
Profoundly.
They create deep-seated patterns in how we approach intimacy and how we react to perceived threats or rejection in our relationships.
And yet, within these shadows of the dream, the wound also felt like it was protecting something.
Protecting, yes.
Not just the pain itself, but also the potential for deep feeling, the allure of exploring those parts of yourself that feel a little dangerous or off limits. It's a strange contradiction.
It is a contradiction, but a very telling one. Our deepest desires can sometimes be masked by fear.
Masked by fear.
And what we are most afraid of can also hold a powerful attraction. The wound, in its own way, might be guarding not only past hurts, but also the very capacity for intense emotion and the yearning to explore those aspects of ourselves that feel forbidden or taboo.
Forbidden. The child turned again, and this time their face seemed different, tear-streaked, but also somehow older.
Older, yes.
Carrying a weight that seemed to go beyond their years, almost like they were holding generations of unspoken wants and things that were withheld. It felt like this individual wound was also part of a much larger inherited story.
That speaks volumes, doesn't it? It points to the way that emotional patterns can be passed down through families.
Passed down.
Often without being consciously acknowledged. Unexpressed needs, unresolved wounds in one generation can subtly shape the experiences of the next.
Wow.
The child's older than their years face reflects this accumulated weight of unspoken desires and unmet longings that can linger through generations.
Then the forest began to shift and change,
Yeah,
becoming almost like a playground,
a playground.
but with impossible rules. Were these childhood fantasies of being rescued, of being abandoned, of being truly seen, and yet never feeling fully satisfied, seemed to be playing out. A stage for these very early and enduring emotional dramas.
This dreamlike space with its shifting rules and unreal scenarios, it becomes the arena, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Where those fundamental childhood dramas of attachment, abandonment, the search for fulfillment, they continue to play out in symbolic form. It's where those early emotional imprints are revisited and
Enacted. And the wound continued to glow, illuminating these long-hidden parts of your inner world.
Still glowing.
Showing how these deep desires find these indirect ways of expressing themselves, these recurring dreams with the same underlying message, just waiting to be understood.
Exactly. These persistent dreams, like the recurring image of the wounded child, are attempts by your unconscious to communicate.
Trying to talk to us.
To communicate these underlying needs and feelings that haven't found direct expression in your waking life, they're like invitations.
Invocations.
Invitations to finally pay attention to what has been silenced or ignored.
Okay. As the dream began to fade then, as if dawn was approaching, you felt a subtle shift.
Shift.
The glow of the wound softened, becoming less intense. The dream landscape itself started to transform, becoming less sharply defined.
This shift in the dream often mirrors a change in your inner awareness, you know?
How so?
The intense pain might begin to recede, making space for a gentler kind of understanding to emerge, an opening for insight rather than a continued confrontation with the raw emotion.
An opening. The child facing you, and in their eyes you saw reflections not just of yourself, but also of other important figures from your life. Telling these silent stories of connection and of separation, it felt like seeing the very roots of your relationship patterns.
These reflections in the child's eyes, they represent those deeply ingrained patterns of relating,
Ingrained.
formed through your early experiences with significant people in your life. These patterns often unconsciously influence how you connect with others and how you see yourself within those connections in your adult life.
Unconsciously influencing? Wow. The barrier you felt, it seemed to shimmer then and become almost transparent,
Transparent.
revealing possibilities, paths that were never taken, words that were never spoken, embraces that were never quite completed. It wasn't offering clear answers, but opening up these realms of what could be.
This transparency signifies the unconscious mind revealing possibilities that have been hidden or avoided.
Revealing them.
It invites a sense of wonder and gentle exploration rather than demanding definitive solutions. It suggests that simply acknowledging these unfulfilled potentials can be a step towards integration.
Just acknowledging them. The pain of the wound itself changed too.
How did it change?
It wasn't the sharp agony anymore, but more like a lingering memory, a gentle pointer towards something that still felt important.
The shift in the nature of the pain. That suggests that some level of acceptance or integration is beginning to take place.
Okay.
The wound is no longer a source of active suffering, perhaps, but more like a marker of a significant experience, a guidepost pointing you towards something important about your own inner landscape.
A guidepost.
Yeah.
The force seemed to exhale, and those barriers you felt before now felt more like pathways.
Barriers to pathways. Beautiful.
The ground beneath felt steadier, yet somehow more yielding. There was this sense of strength emerging from a kind of letting go, a feeling of wholeness appearing from what had felt broken.
This beautiful imagery captures the essence of healing, doesn't it? True strength often lies in acknowledging our vulnerabilities. And wholeness doesn't necessarily mean the absence of wounds, but rather the integration of those experiences into a larger, more compassionate understanding of ourselves.
Water appeared then, a still, reflective lake mirroring the sky above.
Lake.
Your own reflection in the water seemed somehow altered, and the sense of time felt fluid, no longer linear.
Yes.
It was a space where you could recognize these deeper inner states beyond the surface appearances.
The still lake represents a deeper level of self-reflection, a space where your inner world is mirrored back to you.
Mirrored back.
The altered reflection and the fluidity of time suggest a movement beyond the constraints of your conscious mind, allowing for a more profound recognition of your underlying emotional states.
The child then moved through you,
Through you.
leaving behind an imprint, a sense of presence, reminding you that those parts of yourself never truly disappear, and the wound itself seemed to blur and soften into the light.
This merging signifies a kind of integration, doesn't it, of that wounded aspect of yourself?
Integrate.
The lingering sense of presence reminds you that even those parts of ourselves that we might try to suppress or hide remain within us, waiting for acceptance, waiting to be brought back into the whole.
Waiting. And where the wound had been, there remained a tender opening.
An opening.
Receptive like a flower gently unfurling. It felt more like a point of connection than a place of closure.
Ah, that's lovely. This tender opening symbolizes a move towards greater receptivity and connection, both with yourself and perhaps with others. It suggests that healing doesn't necessarily mean the absence of the experience, but rather a transformation into a more open and vulnerable state.
Transformation. The forest around dissolved, leaving only the lake in your reflection.
Just the lake.
But the essence of the dream lingered, deepening your breath, shifting something within. Even as the vivid details faded, the impact remained.
Yes. Even as the dream recedes from your conscious awareness, its emotional and symbolic impact continues to resonate within you.
It resonates.
That deepened breath, that subtle inner shift, they're physical manifestations of this inner processing.
A single leaf fell onto the still surface of the lake, creating gentle ripples, a scent of understanding, arriving with a feeling of familiarity, a quiet aha moment.
This gentle arrival of insight, symbolized by the falling leaf and the spreading ripples, it highlights that true understanding often comes not through force or struggle,
No,
but through a quiet recognition of something that you already knew on a deeper level.
already knew. The light transitioned into twilight, that liminal space between day and night where opposites seem to meet.
The twilight. Yes.
Your body responded with a softening, sense of release. The child's footsteps faded away, becoming a lingering echo.
This liminal state of twilight between the active day and the quiet night, it represents a balancing of opposing forces within your psyche.
Balancing.
The body's softening reflects a release of tension, and the fading footsteps signify the gradual integration of the dream's journey.
What remained was a sense of continuation, a new way of being curious.
Curiosity.
The wound felt transformed, almost like a piece of clothing you had made yourself, something integrated rather than alien.
That emphasizes that healing is an ongoing process, isn't it? Not a fixed destination.
Right.
Transformed pain can become a part of your identity, a source of strength and deeper understanding.
The sound of birdsong began to fill the air.
Ah, birdsong.
A persistent, gentle conversation, suggesting that healing is a direction, a continuous process of finding inner harmony.
The birdsong serves as a beautiful metaphor for the ongoing nature of inner healing and growth, a continuous dialogue within yourself that moves towards greater peace and alignment.
The sun stayed behind the clouds, maintaining a soft, balanced light.
Balanced.
Crucial for seeing clearly without being overwhelmed by either harsh brightness or deep shadow.
That balanced light underscores the importance of acknowledging both, doesn't it? Both the difficult and the brighter aspects of your experience in the journey of self-understanding. Clear seeing requires embracing the full spectrum.
The full spectrum. As you prepared to leave this dream space, you felt a subtle shift within, like discovering a hidden door, or reframing a question you'd been asking yourself. The lessons of the forest were carried within you, not as explicit answers, but as new ways of seeing.
These subtle internal shifts represent the lasting impact of the dream work. The insights gained aren't always consciously articulated, but they become integrated into your way of perceiving and interacting with yourself and the world.
Integrated. The lake rippled one last time, the movement originating from something deep below, creating these patterns that felt meaningful even though you couldn't quite decipher them, before dissolving into stillness, leaving only its essence behind.
Wow.
A final, profound communication from your unconscious, maybe.
It sounds like it. This final ripple and its dissolving patterns symbolize a deep underlying communication from your unconscious mind before the dream fully recedes, leaving behind a sense of knowing that goes beyond words or logical understanding.
And so, you return to waking, not necessarily with all the answers, but with a renewed sense of curiosity about these inner landscapes.
Curiosity's key.
The dream's ending feels like an opening, a question posed, a path gently suggested. Its echoes remain, these quiet reminders about the power of connection through our wounds and the possibility of healing through transformation.
Absolutely. The symbolic language of your dreams holds such deep wisdom, offering profound insights into your own inner world. This exploration hopefully encourages further personal reflection on these themes, wounding, desire, and the potential for healing and growth that resides within you.
Thank you for allowing us to witness this really intimate journey. As you move through your day, perhaps you'll carry a new awareness of the wounds within your own inner world and the forgotten lullabies they might be whispering. What invisible barriers might you now see with a slightly different perspective?
Indeed. Allow the resonance of this dreamlike exploration to stay with you, gently guiding you towards a deeper understanding of your own inner landscapes.
And with that, we conclude this deep dive.